All right, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, I don't have TSG to bounce off of today, so you guys are going to have to fill in the time, give me some good chats. I'll keep it on screen if you guys want, and we can all chat together and have a good time in today's stream. I actually have, since I missed last week, I actually have quite a bit going on for me to fill in for today's stream. So I don't know how long it's going to go. Hopefully not longer than half an hour because I like to keep things as succinct as I possibly can. But there's a lot to get through, and there's some really interesting stuff, especially towards the end of the stream. So make sure you stay tuned till the end. Oh my gosh, should I have got some water? All right. The first one is this leak. Okay, that chat is taking up way too much of the screen. Sorry. The first one is this leak, of course. The rifts. All right. I put this in my latest newsletter on Scoriox.eth, but you can see here, Arlen flying through the rifts, glowing purple as she does so. And, well, there's a lot of them around and things like that. There's a lot of speculation as to what these could be. And I think I have a hint for what it could be later on in the stream. So make sure you stay tuned to that. But this is going to be really interesting. I'm hoping it looks like this is going to make the gameplay more interesting. And it's clear that just more things being added to the overworld that the player can interact with is going to have a big impact on the way the game plays. Now, obviously, there have been lots of comments and things about the game being boring or not quite ready, or the gameplay is not doesn't really have enough to entertain someone. But we've got the bare bone structure in there, and it's polished. It's crazy. It's amazing. And now it's things like this that are going to be added on top, called the sprinkles on top of the sundae. And this game is going to be something truly inspiring. Okay, the next one we've got here is the Snail leaks. I'm absolutely loving it. We can go through all the leaks if you guys want, but I think I'm just going to do a couple. I love these. These are so good. Bloody Gyro, I think his name is. And you got these 4 shards here, which is the shard fragment, the uncommon, rare, and epic. And then the legendary, I'm going to show you in just a minute. And you have the 4 Dokas here, all really great leaks, especially this one. I think his name is Chuko, or Chuko. How's it going, Sony? But it's so cute. I have no idea if you guys, I don't think you guys can hear that. That's okay. He's very, very cute. I still think Hetty's cuter, but he's very, very cute. All right. The next one we'll go on to is this, okay? The rifts. What do they mean? As soon as it was posted, Bruce Toyce, still laugh at that because it's Blastoise, obviously, but Bruce, you get the idea. He cancelled a meeting for the showcase, but it didn't happen at the time, and then that Rift leak was dropped instead. And then Fight for ETH asked, what are the portals? And Tallulah said she thinks they might lead somewhere. They're not awake, and there's a remnant trail of the portal stuff as she leaves. I think that's a good take. That's pretty similar to kind of where my head's at. They look like they're giving a buff of some sort or a booster for time trials. Refill some of your 5,000 energy. Her body glows like we established a minute ago. Some kind of buff. And there are only like 5 messages here. Okay, 4. Well, there was what? 2 proper guesses. There was checkpoint boosters for time trials. There was them leading somewhere. And then the buff side of things. And Ben said that one of the guesses is partially correct. Good morning, Kevin, from Melbourne, Australia. One of the guesses was partially correct. Which one could it be? It's anyone's guess on this. But if I had to say, leading somewhere feels like maybe, but then that wouldn't be partial. It either leads somewhere or it doesn't. Or maybe there's more to that, but I don't think that could be it. Checkpoint boosters for time trials. Maybe they're for time something, but not time trials. I reckon that could be part of it. Or a checkpoint could be partially correct. Otherwise, the buffs thing seems too simple to me. I don't like the idea of that. I don't think that really enhances the gameplay in Illuvium, which is what they're focusing on. But I'm happy to be wrong as well. So that's kind of where I think that it's headed for that, where it might lead somewhere, but more importantly, it's some sort of checkpoint for something, and that's what's partially correct. That's where I'm coming from, and I hope you guys debate what you guys think it is. All right. The next one is the legendary shard. This is from the showcase. You can see it here. I kind of thought it was like a hollow shard at first, but they're just upgrading the way the shards look. And I think it was Splendor or Tula. I think it was Tulula in the chat during this said that it looks like opal. I can't remember. I'm hoping I'm not getting that wrong. She said it looks like opal, Australian opal, which it really, really does. And I really love that if that's where they drew the inspiration. You can see all the different shards here, but I absolutely love this one. Maybe it is a hollow shard. Who knows? But I hope so, because that would be pretty cool. But I think it looks absolutely awesome. All right, here we are. We're back at these leaks, which I think we were supposed to be. Let me double check. Oh, yeah, the drop bear leak, but we already showed you that. All right, let's keep going. Next, we have that staking V2 rewards had a kind of, it wasn't necessarily a bug. It was something the team was aware of, but given that they want to be focusing on the game and things like that, they could have tried to fix this up front, but it would have taken them maybe a month, or taken a lot of time away from PvP and things like that. So they didn't. And what it meant was just that months later, they would have the chance to manually do it and distribute all the rewards that hadn't been accumulating. So rewards were still accumulating, but it was something like 170,000 ILV. So maybe 10 to 15% of the ILV actually accumulating since staking V2 wasn't calculated properly. And they went through and they reconfigured it all. And to claim this leftover ILV, you can go to this portal here, staking.illuvium.io/rewards/missing. Connect your wallet there. It's fine. This website's fine. Make sure you're getting it from the official Discord for anything regarding to this sort of stuff. Grab this link and then you can claim the missing ILV rewards. I had quite a bit myself. I was very happy with it. I know many others have grabbed it and things like that. They might have been covered by Grant G. Hamster. I've seen the start 20 minutes and the end 30 minutes of Showcase, but I haven't seen the bit in the middle yet. So if you want to tell me what they do, then I'll have to double check right after this or something, but that's crazy. Good video idea too. I need video ideas today. If anyone has video ideas today, hit me up. All right. The next thing we'll take a look at, so that's the rewards that are missing. So make sure you go check that at some point this week, hopefully, because they will expire at the end of the year, which I think is a bit weird. I will talk to the team about that at some point, but they will expire. So just go and get your rewards. That's the way to go. Next, the Illuvium store is back up and running. It was down for maintenance for a couple weeks, maybe a month. For a bit. This is what's currently on the store. If you are going to purchase off the store, please use the code Scoriox.eth, and I get a small commission from that. I really appreciate it. But this looks great. I do definitely need some shorts at some point. I already have the hoodie, but I'm looking forward to getting more disc plates at some point. I really love all my hollow ebbs that I have from Wave 2, so I'm going to get them all made up as disc plates. You better believe it. All right. The next one is just a really funny thing I saw. When Rich told everyone that Andrew may be sick, G Hamster asked to call the B team, which is Taryn. So I just thought that was a bit funny. All right, the next thing we'll go is that Illuvium, as I mentioned a minute ago, Illuvium Showcase did happen this week. Go and check it out. Some really great stuff, especially that shard reveal and that sort of stuff. And just hearing Grant and Dimitri talk about the way they go through the art and stuff. And at the moment, they're doing all of the non-alluvial art because the alluvials have like 10 left and it's just T0s, which Dimitri said in Leaks discussion. He's there all the time. So really go check this out. They're nearing completion for set 1 of Illuvium, really, which is no small feat. I mean, creating 158-bit creatures was a big feat for Pokemon back in 1996, but now creating 150 unique 3D things that have all these particle effects, lore, and all this background, it's no small feat. So they've really done it, and I'm very, very impressed. I'd be impressed of anyone if they were to do this. So very, very cool stuff. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is the dissolution of the marketing sub-council. All right. Now, obviously, I have some level of bias for someone trying to say I'm not needed. But if you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on this, you should probably go check out the discussion itself. Scroll down in the chat and look for my messages. I've tried to be as objective as I possibly can. Ultimately, when it comes to this proposal, the big thing is that at least in the summary, I mean, there was not really any execution parameters put forward that is actionable in any sense of the word. But opening the discussion is very important. That being said, I think the IMC and Strategy Subcouncil had already been discussing upgrades from Gov v2 to Gov v3, and they've decided that these sorts of discussion points and all the discussion had will be incorporated into that. But ultimately, there are some really good points made in the summary of this, as regards to especially that, to put it simply, the marketing team has a very thin budget, which definitely makes it harder for the marketing subcouncil to really accomplish anything major during this epoch. And that being said, then maybe they're not worth having around on the council during the epoch. Now, that being said, it messes up a lot of the decentralization of the overall Gov v2 structure, so it's not particularly practical. But for the reasoning here, it stands true. It's very, very good stuff. That's all I can say. If you want to see my opinions, just go check it out here. Also, it was a little bit of misinformation there, as like it's going to save money and we can spend that money on hiring a marketing executive or a marketing agency or whatever. That's completely different, because a marketing agency would cost runway and the marketing subcouncil is treasury funds and significantly less, mind you, because it's being paid out in ILV, which is very different, especially for tax reasons and things like that. It's all a completely different structure, and it's not very accurate to say that this could be better spent on marketing individuals, because that's not really how it translates. Although I definitely think the marketing team should have a bigger team, and they definitely should be spending money on that. And maybe that'll be a proposal we'll have to write at some point, and that's a good thing we can do this epoch. So yeah, that's kind of how it sums up for me. All right, the next one is the exclusive Alpha Season Regional Ranger and Mozart skins. At its core, I really like this premise. I will note that some of the discussions, some of the key things have been like, the team is already under the pump, and Nick here, being the product manager, is very much timeline focused, and he understands kind of where everything is and where it's going to be in the next month, 2 months. And throwing spanners in the works is pretty much goes against his job. But he absolutely loves adding and improving the project. So there's that as well. But that's kind of a part of this whole thing. Is a lot of the discussion took place around, does the team have the time to execute? But that being said, they've put in some really interesting key points where they can distribute a coin, which is temporary, and then when the team does have time to execute, they can swap it out for a skin. And the idea is that anyone who collected blueprints in Illuvium 0 would get an exclusive special skin that you cannot get in any other way in the Illuvium ecosystem. That would basically just say, thank you for buying land early and thank you for participating in the beta. I think there's a cool idea where they're all got different region skins. So all the Abyssal Basin ones get a certain skin and stuff like that. Again, I think if the team says this is too much work, I'm inclined to trust them on this, and I'd rather focus on the game's launch. But I definitely think a lot of people want to make sure that landholders are kind of getting what they were expecting since day one, which is a really hard balance to strike, but it's not an unimportant one. Let's put it that way. Okay, the next thing we've got on the list is this. So Jaggerknight was upset. Well, not upset. Jaggerknight was hoping that you could claim the missing ILV rewards as SILV2 instead, which is part of the standard staking protocol where you can claim SILV2 or ILV. So in theory, since this should have been a part of the staking protocol, it would make sense that having that functionality would have been a good faith argument in a sense. But as Aaron outlines here, Aaron basically outlines that would delay the project significantly, because there's a lot of contracts and a lot of extra work and a lot of other things that need to be built out to enable that sort of functionality. And delaying the game 1 or 2 months for functionality like this that maybe a handful of people would have liked is not great. Maybe a good in-between would have been allowing unlocked ILV, but 170,000 unlocked tokens being distributed randomly is probably not good for any token. And it's just not ideal. It's not great. It's not great. So that was actually all I had for today. Kind of crazy that we're only 15 minutes in and I managed to finish everything up. So it turns out 80% of the time we do this, it's banter between me and TSG and that sort of stuff. But that's okay. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you got up to date with Illuvium from the past 2 weeks. Not much more has happened, but PvP is coming out hopefully sometime this month, if not very early in October. And I am very, very excited for all that coming. Have a good day.